Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and it is the first video of the year, which is a book review video. I have 6 books, I think, to review for you, and I have a sneak peek of what is coming up in the future that I just got in the mail. I got book mail yesterday, and I was really surprised it came because of Christmas and New Year's. It was not supposed to arrive for a couple of days, and I got it a little bit early, so that's really exciting. I get really excited over books. So this is going to be the December wrap-up video of everything that I read. So this is just like a recap of all of my December books. Now, if you are not already, I highly suggest you join me over on Goodreads. It's free to make an account. I have the app on my phone and I use the website all the time. I love Goodreads because I have quite a few friends who use it and I like to see what they're reading. And if you would like to see what I'm reading and things that I have bookmarked to read in the future, you can follow me there. You can be my friend, and that's what I have open right now is my Goodreads account, so I can make sure that I get all of the books that I read for you and that I don't forget anything. So Goodreads told me that I read 70 books in the year 2024. That is a lot of books. I don't know if I've ever read that many books in a year, and I'm like super excited that I not only met my goal, but I surpassed it. My goal was to read 50 books, and I read on average probably 5 a month, and obviously because I read 70 books, it's a little bit more, but average is about 5 for me. So I really wanted to read some Christmas books in the month of December. I really struggle sometimes with Christmas books, and I have this habit of just like starting a book and not really finishing it, especially a Christmas book. I don't know. Christmas books sometimes just get way too cheesy and then they lose me, or the storyline is just so predictable that I just can't. So I started probably around 10 books on Kindle Unlimited that I did not finish. I read maybe the first chapter or 2 and then I tossed it. So the first one that I actually did finish and I really enjoyed was a Gabrielle Meyer book. Now you might recognize her name. She is the author of the Timeless series, the book about time crossers. It is a Christian fiction series, and she is one of my auto-buy authors, meaning whenever she puts out something, I don't even look at the back of the book, I just purchase it because she's that good of a writer. So I love her books. I am obsessed with the Timeless series, and I picked up a different book this time from her called A Family Arrangement. Now this is part of a series called The Little Falls Legacy, and this was the first book in it. And the cover looked Christmassy, and I thought this was the perfect chance to read a Christmas book from her. I read her Christmas novella last year and I really liked it. So I had a feeling I would like this one too. Now this book was very interesting because she is writing about the town that she grew up in, and I read a little bit of the background about it. So read that. It's in, I think, the beginning and the end of that book, and she gives a little bit of detail about growing up there and how she wanted to make this series about her town that she loves so much. So this is a historical book, and it's about the setting up of this brand new town and how this man and this woman meet, and about this family coming together. And I really enjoyed it. It was such a sweet book, you know, happily ever after type of book, and it was exactly what I needed for the month of December. So the second book that I read for December was a book that I had never read before, but when I was a little girl, I was completely obsessed with the movie, and it is The Little Princess, or A Little Princess, not The Little Princess, A Little Princess. I loved the movie, and if you guys know what movie I'm talking about, it's the 90s version, and it's about little Sarah Crew, who is in this boarding house and she loses her father, and just how she handled it, believing that she was a princess the entire time. Now, what I was not aware of until I read the book was that the movie changed the ending. And I don't know how I feel about it now, knowing that wasn't the real ending. I liked the movie version ending better. I'll just say that. This is not a Christian book, and because she grew up in India, she has some Buddhist type of beliefs. So that is thrown in there, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. But, you know, I try my best to kind of ignore little bits like that unless it's really something that stands out to me. But I do remember reading that. She does kind of, it's a lot of like love and light type of things. This is not a Christian book, but it is a classic, and I did enjoy it for what it was. So the next book I read was another Gabrielle Meyer book, and it was not a continuation of the Little Falls legacy. This was the first book in the American Brides book series. I hope I said that right. Yeah, the American Brides collection. I read Virginia Company Bride. This was a short and sweet book. I don't want to call it a novella, but it was a shorter book, and it was about the setting up of a town in Virginia. And it was about the first woman to the town and the struggles that she went through. And again, she bases everything off of historical documents. She's very true to history, and some of these people are real people that she's talking about, and she's heavily researched it. And that's one of the things that I love about Gabrielle Meyer is she does so much extensive history about everything she writes about. So she doesn't stray too far at all from what is reasonable for what these people went through. And she uses real historical documents and things like that to back up what she's writing about. And you can tell she was that kid who just loved history class, and she did such a great job of not just bringing these characters to life, but bringing the entire town to life. So you could almost like really visualize everything here, and I think she did a great job. It was a really great book. Loved it. Another happily ever after type story, and it was just, when you need a feel-good type story but you love history, this is the route to go. So the next one I read was about canning. Yes, canning, like canning food. I have been wanting to learn how to can, and I've been kind of just, I haven't done anything. I don't have any of the products to do it yet, but I've just been reading about it and researching. And I read, it's called Ask Jackie, Canning Basics. And this was not the book that I was hoping that it was. Luckily, it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I didn't have to pay anything for it. But I did learn quite a few different things. So people are basically just writing into this woman named Jackie and asking her questions about canning food. And that she would just answer kind of like you would in like a Dear Abby type of column, you know what I mean? But it was all about canning. And so this was really interesting to read. I need more of like canning basics, like a 101, like first this is the equipment you need, and then you do this, and then you do this, and I need like a step-by-step type of thing. So this was not, I'm not there yet. This was too advanced for me. But it was an interesting book, and I did learn a few things. So the only physical book that I have to show you is our Advent book, and that was Joy to the World by Charles Spurgeon. This was a great book. We did this for family worship in the evenings, and we lit our Advent candles together, and we read the book with our kids. That one was a great Christmas devotional. Highly recommend it. It's short and sweet. It's just like one page for each day type of thing. Not a heavy one, but it was very thought-provoking and a great one for families. So the last book I read is called Firefly Diaries, and this one is by C.C. Warrens, and she is the same author who wrote the Holly series that I picked up, I think like 18 months ago. And she has a brand new series out. Now she only has 2 books out in this series, so I was reluctant to pick it up because I do not like waiting for the next book to come out, and I knew I was going to catch up too quickly and that I would have to wait for book 3, and it was going to be hard for me. So I waited a while before I picked up the Firefly Diaries book, but it was a really good book. It was really interesting. It was quite a detour from the Holly books, but it was still like Christian suspense. This is not a historical book. These books are set in present day. So I will give one content warning for these books. the main character loses her son. Now that's not a secret or a spoiler for this book. It's made very clear at the beginning of the book that her child has died, and she's dealing with the grief of that whole situation. So just know that going into it, if that might not be your thing. Nothing is gory, or there's no details or anything like that. There is no like violence in that matter, but there are, because this is a like police suspense type of book, there is detective work going on. There is a woman who has gone missing, and you know, I don't want to give anything away. But really great book. Very in line with the Holly novels, same type of book that I love. I love, you know, suspense type books. I love mystery, that whole deal. I really enjoy it. So 5-star read, really enjoy. I really enjoy CC Warren's books, so love it. So I'll give you a sneak peek of what just arrived in the mail. It is The Seaside Homecoming by Julie Klassen, and this is part of the On Devonshire Shores series. This is book number 3. I have book number 1 and 2 on my shelf. Books number 1 and 2 is just like, I don't know how to describe it other than just like a warm cup of tea. I love it. These are these historical novels. Now there's nothing, it's really just a historical novel. There's no mystery type book. It's not a suspense book. It's not anything like that. These are just good old fashioned, like read very slow paced type of book with a cup of tea. And I remember the last 2 books I just gobbled up, and I just really savored each one, and that's why I really wanted the paperback. I did not want an electronic version of the book. I wanted the actual book. There's a few series that I just do that with. This is one of them. The Time Crosser series is another one, or the Timeless series. I have to have like the actual physical book to enjoy it at its absolute fullest, and this is one that I recommend. Get the physical book if you can. It is so good. Now you have to read these in order. So this is one of those types of books that, you know, it's not a new book with each one. It's a continuation of a story. It's not a new story with each book. So you do have to read them in order. The first 2 are wonderful, and I love the covers on these books. These books are just always so pretty. So I love these books. I'm so excited to dive into this one and see what this one is all about. Each book kind of focuses on one sister. So this one is going to focus on a new sister that I've heard so much about in the books, and we're going to meet her this time. So that's going to be one of my very first reads of the year, and I'm also reading, and I've said I'm going to do this forever, and I'm finally doing it. I'm going to read Lord of the Rings. I've never read it. I've watched the movies, gosh, probably a dozen times. We just watched the second movie this morning, actually, which actually is my favorite. I actually like the second movie better than the first or the third. But yeah, I am halfway through the Fellowship of the Ring, so I'm getting there. I am getting there. With the help of audiobooks, I am making it. Okay, that is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you had a wonderful Christmas and had a great new year. Today is January 1st. Cannot believe it. It is 2025. I feel like the year just has flown by, and there's a lot of great things coming up for my family and for our homeschool, and a lot of exciting things. My first child is graduating high school this year. So there's a lot going on. So I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done with all of these events going on, but I will update you as I go along. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and Lord willing, I will see you in the next video. Happy homeschooling.